But all those needle drops, the one I wanted, the studio, got the rights, including the John Lennon. So that movie was released with those great needle drops, in the Blondie and Supertramp and John Lennon. And then about a year after the movie was released on VHS, when it was home video, it was pulled off. I said, "What's going on?" And apparently, back when the movie was, the rights were cleared in 1970, 1980, they just hadn't anticipated the VHS market or DVD market. And the attorneys at Paramount, I mean, it's astounding when you think about it, didn't buy the rights for all those ancillary uses. They just bought them for like theatrical and broadcast. And so for 40 years, this movie has not been available in the home video market. Astounding. So since the theatrical release of the film, nobody's seen it except in a pirated version, which is terrible. Fifth generation, lousy color, lousy stuff, pirated versions coming out of China or someplace. Somebody called me, I forget whether it was in the 80s or the 90s, said, "Ron, your film was on television and it's not your film. You should look into it." Now, when any studio wants to change a movie, like the airplane version or this version or that version, and they want to fundamentally change your movie, or change it in any way, re-edit it, they're supposed to contact the director, supposed to look you up in the Directors Guild, contact you, so that they give you the opportunity to do it. They say, well, the TV version, it can't be longer than this, or the airplane version, and it's usually a question of time. And certainly in Little Darlings, it had nothing to do with content because we already gone through that. It was PG-13. So the only reason would be for time. But then what I didn't know until I knew was this question of the music rights. So the music rights for the needle drops, they couldn't use it. Well, I was never contacted, which is inexcusable because I was always a member of the Directors Guild. I am to this day. Directors Guild can track you down. At the time I was living in Los Angeles. I've only been in Virginia the last 20 years. I had an agent. I had a lawyer. What? There was either no attempt to contact me or a very lame attempt because I never knew until after the fact. And I finally saw what they were doing, and I was absolutely appalled. First of all, because they couldn't use the needle drops that we had acquired, every single one of those needle drops, like John Lennon or Blondie or whatever it was replaced by canned music out of some, music library. It's like taking a hammer to the film. Appalling. And they had added scenes that we'd cut out because, for story reasons, there was a scene when the canoes tip over and they get caught in a rainstorm on their way to the first, or after the first first aborted rendezvous. I remember looking at the dailies. It didn't work. We shot it in the tank at Paramount against a big green screen, and the artificial waves. It was just phony. We can't use it. So there it was, and other stuff that was just rejected. At that point, you could do one of three things. File a complaint with Directors Guild, and they can try to stop the release of that version. Start a lawsuit, sue the sumbitches for millions of dollars for ruining your reputation. Or do nothing. And I opted to do nothing. Just do nothing. I just didn't want to go down that road. And so that awful version knocked around broadcast for a while. I don't know how many thousands or millions of people saw it. But the worst part of it is the real version was not available either, anywhere, until a year and a half or 2 years ago, when it's finally available with Paramount Plus, you can actually see the real movie in all its glory. So just the lesson there is just try to live long enough, and you'll see your correct version find the light of day again.